Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on when you're watching our episode today. To our viewers, welcome back to Constellation Crew. Once again, I'm joined by my crew members, Kenya and Kyree. Say hello.
Hello.
Hi.
So today it's a little different in Stellarium. We usually always do the night of when we are doing our videos and right after sunset. So that is not the case here. We are all students, all undergrads here on Constellation Crew. So next week is our Thanksgiving break, finally. Yay! I'm so excited. Food and maybe some peace, even though I have an exam over break. I don't know about you guys.
Well,
but
good luck.
Oh, thank you. So we would like to do a Thanksgiving themed episode for you all before we head for break. And that is exactly where we're at right now. So we are on Thanksgiving evening, just after sunset, just after you all have sat down, had a bunch of turkey, some biscuits, and some stuffing and gravy. And man, that sounds so good right now. Just after that, and maybe after all the tryptophan gets out of your system, you might want to go outside and observe. So that is November 24th, for those who need an actual date. Thursday. So, just after sunset, we have some major stuff going on tonight here in Muncie, today, which is the 16th, right guys? Today's the 16th?
Yes.
Okay. November 16th. I'm not very good with dates, as you probably can tell. So November 16th tonight is a last or third quarter moon, whichever you prefer. So the light is on the left side of the moon. So what does that mean, crew? For our viewers, comment down below.
Do you want to take this one, Kenya?
I think it's getting darker, right? It's heading towards a new moon.
Exactly, it's heading towards new moon. Thank you, Kenya. So I've said it a million times at the Planetarium, we always have this trick, light on the right, getting bright. So since the light is on the left, Kenya is exactly correct. It is heading towards new moon. New moon is exactly on the night before Thanksgiving. So Wednesday night, the 23rd of November, is new moon. So just after that, you're still experiencing a new moon phenomena. You're not seeing a lot of light, but it's not exactly new moon on Thanksgiving, but it's close enough. And new moons for me are highly underrated. I love new moons. Aside from the fact that they're involved in a lot of astronomical events, they're very important for me as a person who loves to look at the night sky, but is very close to a very populated city back home and experiences a lot of light pollution. The moon does have an effect on the night sky. We've done it in past Constellation Crew episodes where we have turned off the moon, and you see a difference because you can do that here in our program in Stellarium. So in this case, it'll be the perfect night to go outside and stargaze because you're just having a little less light in your night sky. Has anyone else noticed that difference? Had any problems with the moon in observing, crew?
I've had that
Really
problem a couple of times.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
I haven't really had problems, but I have noticed that it helps to see like the stars and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And we're not dissing the full moon. The full moon is amazing. We love the full moon. It brightens up the night for us, so it feels a little less dark for those who are scared of the dark. That would be me. So, full moons are also wonderful, but I just feel like everyone's like, oh, new moon. You can't even see it. Who cares? I do. I think it's great. But moving on, now that we know where we are and what time it is, for a refresher, Stellarium is in Muncie, Indiana, but on Thanksgiving evening, just after sunset, around 5 to 6 o'clock p.m. Muncie time. There are not just the moon in the night sky, there's other stuff too, and I feel that Kenya has some observations that she has made. What else is in the night sky on Thanksgiving evening?
So, two of the main things you'll be able to find are Jupiter and Saturn. So on Thanksgiving, you'll be able to find Jupiter in the southeast. It's part of the constellation Pisces, which is an image of two fish. Jupiter is also the biggest planet in our solar system, and it's a gas giant. It's made of gases like hydrogen and helium. And Jupiter also has a giant storm on it called the Great Red Spot. And this storm is bigger than our entire planet. So that might give you some insight into how big Jupiter really is. And then we can also find Saturn on Thanksgiving night. So you'll be able to find it in the south, sort of towards the southwest as the night gets later. So Saturn is located within the constellation Capricornus, and Capricornus is a constellation of a mythical creature. It's half goat and half fish, which is called a sea goat. I just learned that recently. And Saturn is similar to Jupiter because it's also huge, and it's also a gas giant. So it's, again, made up of hydrogen and helium. Saturn, also like Jupiter, actually has a really big storm on it too, which a lot of people don't know, and it's called the hexagon, and it has actually stayed in the shape of a hexagon for hundreds of years, which is really interesting. And this massive storm is like about 20,000 miles across, and it's made of gases moving at close to 300 miles per hour, so it is a pretty massive storm. So
Wow.
yeah.
So you said it was a hexagonal storm?
Mhm.
So is it in the shape of a hexagon then?
Yeah, it's really interesting to
Wow.
see.
I don't even know how that physically happens. Physicist
I just want to see
as
one
well.
in our own Earth. That'd be cool.
A hexagonal hurricane. I'm not asking for that because
I'm not
hurricanes
asking
are
for
not
a
nice.
hurricane.
But
But I would like to see on the news just like a hexagon just going across the United States.
that would be good. That would be great. I mean, maybe we can put the hexagonal storm at Point Nemo. For those who don't know, Point Nemo is a point on planet Earth in the ocean, or in the middle of the ocean. It's the furthest point in either direction from any sort of land. So I can't remember the specifics, but I think the closest piece of land is like a week or so away. It's a long journey from Point Nemo, and Point Nemo is significant because if I remember correctly, the International Space Station will be plunging into Point Nemo in like 2030, 2040. It's a long ways away. Don't worry. If you need more information, nasa.gov always has up-to-date stuff on space-related items, so feel free to check that out. But yeah, that would be a great place to have a hexagonal hurricane, and then it won't bother anyone. Furthest point from any sort of land, right? Hopefully. You know, the butterfly effect isn't a thing. Don't worry about it. Well then, wow. I love that. I love that so much. Space is so cool. All these interesting shapes. So, but we shall move on. There are other things to look at in our night sky on Thanksgiving evening, and I believe Kyree has some stuff.
I in fact do. More so towards the northeast, closer on the east side, you will actually be able to see the planet Mars at around 8:30. And it's going to be inside the constellation Taurus. You'll be easily able to see them within Elnath and Tianguan, which are the two stars that represent the horns of the bull, which is also another interesting fact. If you actually look into night sky instead of during Thanksgiving, Mars and those two stars will actually be almost perfectly lined up, some deviation, so it'll be pretty cool to look at. But of course, we need to focus on Thanksgiving because it's Thanksgiving time.
Woohoo!
As far as Mars goes, we all know that some of us may know that it is the red planet. But what is cool is that it has two moons, and the name of these two moons are Deimos and Phobos. What I really like about this is that Mars is the Roman god of war. Its Greek equivalent is Ares, and the two horses that pulled his chariot were named Deimos and Phobos. So it's like
Aww.
a cool, like, little grouping. And Mars just only has those two moons, so it's like really cool and special. But besides the moons that orbit around Mars, there's actually some really cool stuff inside of Mars. That's not like a great way to phrase it, but I'll go with it. First, we can talk about Olympus Mons, a dormant volcano, which is actually the largest and highest mountain slash volcano in our own solar system. It's
Wow.
like 2.5 times the height of Mount Everest at sea level, which I find really cool.
Wow, that's amazing.
Okay then. That's a big volcano.
And then let's not forget that it also has a canyon that makes the Grand Canyon not so grand. It's called Valles Marineris, and it's about 2,500 miles long and 4 miles deep, which actually spans to about like 20% of the entire distance around Mars. So
Wow.
almost as wide as the continent of our
So
United States.
theoretically, if we could, like, let's forget all of the problems that would arise in doing this project, and let's magically say we could pick up the volcano on Mars. Could we put it in the canyon, and would it fit?
That's a great question. That's a really great question. I have to do a lot more research. I would assume it'd be taller at least. I don't know if it would fit width-wise, but that is some
Okay.
more research I'd have to look into.
So then, could the Grand Canyon fit in the canyon on Mars?
Yes, the Grand Canyon can most definitely fit in the canyon. In fact, it's about 4 to 5 ish times, no, 2 to 4 to 5 times wider than the Grand Canyon. The Valles Marineris, so Grand Canyon can most definitely fit in there.
Wow. Okay then. That's just wow. Learning new things every day. That's why I feel that studying our solar system is still very important and learning a lot about what goes on. I just learned from our planetarium director Dana that there are websites out there, and she has one in particular. I'll have to ask her about it later. Maybe we can put it in the comments of this video for our viewers to click on as a link, where it'll tell you the weather on certain planets. So it has the weather. Like, you look on the weather on your phone, it has the weather for Mars and other planets, like, which is really cool to me.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And she was talking about at one show where the North Pole or the northern part of Mars does have like an Arctic, kind of like we do. It's a nice little frosty top. And it's actually expanding, I think, because Mars is going into winter, so it's creeping further down, which is really cool. Do we have Mars available? We might have him right here. Oh, he's all the way behind the table. Let me see if I can reach him. Here at the planetarium, we have celestial buddies. They're cute little plushies, and they're actually, I just recently learned, very scientifically accurate. So this is Mars, our little celestial buddy, and the tuft of his hair, of their hair, is the polar ice caps on Mars. That's what it represents. So it's not just him being cute as he is. It's actually just representing the polar ice caps of Mars, which is so cute.
It's really interesting.
I know, right? He's so cute, and he's so small compared to my face. Adorable. He's a lot like a Beanie Baby, where you have the tag and it tells you all the information about the planet and stuff. It's so cute. And his name is on his foot for our viewers. It's so cute. So we have them here at the planetarium. We have all the planets, the sun, of course, different variations of Earth, the moon, a comet, all kinds of stuff. They come in handy, especially for something like this. So, Kyree, you mentioned that it's in the constellation Taurus the Bull, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to speed up time here a little bit because Kyree was exactly right. So Mars started to rise above the horizon around 8:30 Muncie time?
I said it would be more so closer to the east at 8:30, a little more higher in the sky.
Okay, yeah, I'm reading time incorrectly. We're in
right now we're at 5.
yeah. So I'm gonna raise Mars a little bit here because exactly like Kyree said, it's inside Taurus the Bull. So if we raise it just a little bit, there we go. So we're gonna do that and do some clicking. There we go. It is Taurus. He's a little upside down right now. Not entirely sure why. But Taurus the Bull is a very fascinating constellation, aside from the fact that it is a member of the Zodiac. Zodiac is used in both astronomy and astrology, but we are focusing on astronomy today, so we're going to be talking about the constellation and how we use it in astronomy today. So the Taurus the Bull constellation is one of the oldest constellations that we have. It goes all the way back and has been recorded as a bull constellation all the way to the Bronze Age, which one of our crew members, Kyree, just informed me is roughly 4,500 years ago. That is a very old constellation, but it's kind of extraordinary if you think about it, because in past Constellation Crew episodes, I was known as the myth expert, and expert is a strong word. I just really loved talking about the myths for constellations because they're very fascinating. A lot of them have varying myths of all across all different beliefs and religions, which is quite beautiful. And constellations vary from location to location and place to place. But Taurus is one of the 88 official constellations of the International Astronomical Union. So, of course, Taurus is known all across the land. But, as I mentioned earlier, Taurus does come up in other mythologies and beliefs. In fact, it does appear in Egyptian mythology, which is actually pretty cool. But the most common myth associated with Taurus, for our veteran viewers, Zeus is at it again. Zeus is doing some stuff, and why? We don't know. So Taurus is known as Zeus when he transformed himself into a white bull to go after a woman named Europa. I believe he did abduct her, but he used the bull form to persuade her, kind of like a, hey, look at me, aren't I special and pretty because I'm a white bull? He chose it specifically white, I believe, which is quite intriguing, but I don't know why he chose a bull. Oh wait, no, I think I do. I think it represents, courage, masculinity, very strong characteristics, so I guess that makes sense. But I don't know, I just feel like if, just say hi to her, walk up to her, say, hi, my name is Zeus. I really think you're pretty. I would like to take you out for a drink sometime. Something like that.
I think Zeus was being kind of shy, He needs to show off somehow.
But I guess he's got to, use his magic, right? Or I don't know if that's the right term.
Exactly. Yeah, magic. Wouldn't you kind of abuse it?
I mean, hey, it's a common theme, right? You see it all over the place that whenever someone gets magic, at some point they go a little too far. Whatever too far is, they usually hit it at some point. Because, magic is very tempting. I just started watching a new show about magic, which is why I'm bringing it up. But
so does remind me of a movie I watched a while back when these high school boys got telekinesis from some alien race outside, and one of the boys went too far. So yeah, that is true.
We love that. But so yeah, Taurus is a pretty fascinating constellation. It also has some other stuff going on with it, aside from it being a zodiac constellation. Also, for those who are viewers and also came to Astronomy Slam, the name Europa should ring a bell, because our Constellation crew member Kenya did talk about Europa in her Astronomy Slam presentation. So I'm gonna leave it up to the viewers, right in the comment section. Where do you know Europa from? Either personal knowledge, or for a bonus, can you tell me what Kenya talked about? How does it connect to Kenya's Astronomy Slam presentation? And no cheating, because I know the video is posted on our YouTube channel. No cheating. No looking it up. You gotta use your noggin. Gotta have your memory. I know it's probably a week and a half ago, but even though it was a week ago, strong long-term memory, right? Exercise your brain, right? Challenge it.
You gotta do those push-ups physically and mentally.
There you go, right? I wonder how you would do that. There's this joke, or not a joke, I believe it's fact, and don't quote me on it, but I heard it somewhere, and crew, please chime in, please, because I just remember this from somewhere, that our brains are wrinkled because it's something to do with our intelligence. There's a smooth brain, which does, it has long-term memory, short-term memory, and can do all the basic survival skills. But the wrinkled brain is where it comes into a conscience and feelings and kind of crazy stuff. So, you know,
Yeah.
we're exercising our brain and learning, and it gets more wrinkles. Add the wrinkles. So, aside from that, Taurus does have something interesting within its constellation. If Kenya would like to take it away.
So, Pleiades is a star cluster. It's a cluster of stars. It's also referred to as the Seven Sisters. Sometimes it's referred to that because it looks like 7 stars in our sky, like in one cluster. But it's actually over 1,000 stars in space. So this star cluster is mostly made up of hot blue stars that have formed within the last 100 million years.
Wow, that's insane. In astronomy, color is very important because a lot of times it tells us a lot about a system, a galaxy, or even stars. Just like Kenya said, they're relatively young. That's usually how it goes. When it's a blue star, it's very, very hot, and typically that also means that it's very young. Red stars are a little bit cooler. They're cooler, period. They're just cooler. Don't need to add the little adjective.
Just a smidge. Sorry.
They're cooler, and they are also red in color, which
It's
also,
a few what?
yeah, they're also older as well. So blue star, hotter, young, baby star. Red star is cooler and an older star. I am going to put something up because this is something that I learned in college. Let me see if I can. Technology again. Let's see what happens. Am I going to break the system? Yes. Abort. Let's zoom back out. Let's try this again. Nope. Oh, I know. There we go. Every time. Okay.
Audience, give it up for Nicolette.
Thank you. Yes, I can hear the claps in the distance. I can hear a slow clap in the back, and I don't appreciate it. Anyway, so I brought this up. So these red lines here. Can anyone on the crew tell me what these are? This red line.
Constellation borders.
There we go. Yes, constellation borders. So when I first started getting into astronomy as a child, I was under the impression that all these lines, you connect the dots and what have you, that's where the constellation stopped. The constellation ended at the last star where it connected, and that was it. That is not true. They do have borders that encompass the rest of the sky. That's why sometimes you'll hear that, so for example, the Andromeda constellation has the Andromeda galaxy in it. And it's not a star that you connect to or a point of light, because sometimes some of these that look like stars are not actually stars, or at the very least, they're not just one star. It looks like one, but maybe there's more. So sometimes there'll be other things. However, in this case, the Pleiades is not one of these points that connect and make this interesting shape. It's within the constellation still, though. It may not be connected. Playing connect the dots. So if I zoom in just a little, that is what Kenya was talking about, the Pleiades right there. So these borders are just like the rest of the sky that the constellation has custody of. And whatever is in these red lines is a part of that constellation, or commonly said, oh, the Pleiades is with Taurus, stuff like that. So just wanted to bring that up. Does anyone know a couple fun facts about the Pleiades? I do, but I'm gonna open it up to my crew first.
I do know back in, I believe, Native American culture, the Pleiades were 7 women that went out at night to dance under the stars without any men. And because men were like the hunters of the time, they didn't really have any true way of defending themselves, and they ended up getting attacked. So they ended up having to run, and like they were praying while they were running, and eventually they climbed up to a rock, and like the higher beings answered their prayers and like raised the rock and turned those 7 women into the Pleiades, and that rock became the Great Rock in, I don't remember what state the Great Rock is in.
The Great Rock? That sounds like a very similar tale to so The federal government calls this national monument Devil's Tower. It is a federal
Devil's Tower.
name.
Yep.
So that's what you're talking about?
Yep.
Okay. So we talked about this a couple Constellation crews ago. The Astronomy Club here at Ball State is doing a really fun project with Name Exoworlds, and they're actually trying to coordinate an exoplanet and its star with Devil's Tower and using Native American culture to come up with these names, and it's very similar tales. So yeah, exactly right, Kyree, exactly right. Very, very fun. So then, are the Pleiades those 7 women?
Yes.
Because the Pleiades is also known as the 7 sisters. I believe Kenya brought that up as well. So yeah, it's very interesting. Thank you for bringing that up. I love that. That's like one that not a lot of people know. So very good. What about you, Kenya? Do you know anything? Any fun facts?
Oh gosh. I mean, basically just what I already said. They're called the 7 sisters. There's over 1,000 stars. But they formed within the last 100 million years, but they are generally young stars. So.
Okay, there you go. Very good. So, some of the ones that I know. So the Pleiades is actually I don't want to say mascot, a symbol of a certain car brand. Any guesses,
Yeah.
crew? Any guesses, crew? Comment down
No.
below.
Isn't it Subaru?
Yes. And if I remember correctly, Subaru is the name for the Pleiades in another country. I just don't remember off the top of my head. I don't want to say the wrong one, but I do know that it is the Pleiades in a different country. Take that with what you will. So there's that one. The other one is that a long time ago, I believe the Greeks used the Pleiades to see how good someone's eyesight was in terms of a soldier. They wanted to see how well they could see. And so they would look up at the Pleiades and they would ask them, how many stars do you see? And if they could see like 4 to 5, they were average. If they could see 6 to 7 or claim to see higher than that, then they had pristine vision. So yeah, testing our viewers out there. So on Thanksgiving night, when you're taking a look and you're looking for the Pleiades from Taurus the Bull over here, count how many stars in that little dipper kind of shape you can see. Count how many you can see. If you can see 6 or higher, you got some pretty good vision.
And don't worry if you see a low number, because I promise you, I can't see one of them.
And it could be so many different factors, right? It could be light pollution. So usually what happens is with light pollution, a lot of the dimmer stars are overshadowed by the light from down here on Earth, and you can't really see. So if you've ever seen the movie The Madagascar, it's a funny joke that when they're in New York, they can't see any stars, and the lion and I forgot the lion's name. What's the lion's name? I know Marty's the zebra. Alex the lion. Duh. Alex and Marty are just hanging out in their pens and they're looking up, and Alex goes, "Look, Marty, it's a star." And Marty goes, "That's a helicopter, Alex." And it starts moving. It's just the funniest thing ever. And then of course they go to Madagascar, right? And for those who don't know, Madagascar is an island just off of the coast of Africa. And while they're there, they see billions and billions of stars. So many, because they're now away from New York. So that's kind of the same effect, right? Is that you might not see a lot of stars in the Pleiades because you might just be in the middle of a really busy city or right next door to a really busy city. So there is that. I'm going to speed up time just a little to see where Taurus goes, because I don't know if we actually talked about how to find it. And once again, Stellarium is so weird when it draws its constellations. I do not draw Taurus this way. I do not. I also don't associate Taurus with a lot of these, like some of these connections. I feel like Stellarium just starts connecting lines out of nowhere for whatever reason. I personally like using Sky Maps, which is a free website where you can get a sky chart, sky map, to observe the sky. It shows you all the constellations that are available month to month for you to see, and some major events that are going on. It lists them on the side, really nice, and it draws them all out. But let me get rid of some of the stuff here. With our settings, you can't quite see this shape really well. Maybe if I zoom in just a little. Oh, look, it's Orion. Hi, Orion.
Jason the Pleiades.
Yes, it is. So I see this V shape. That's what I associate Taurus with, is always that V shape. I'm not sure if that's an asterism or not, but it's always this nice V shape. But other than that, crew, is there anything else you would like to add? Scroll back.
Check out Mars tonight. It'll be right lined up with the horns.
Yes. Oh, geez, I scrolled all the way over there. Check out Mars. Mars is over here. Hi, Mars. And of course, it's right by another reddish star, which is the Eye of Taurus the Bull. We love that one. So please check that out, like Kyree said. And I do believe Mars has been very surprising. I'll look up at the sky and see a really bright orange thing, and I'm just like, what is that? But if you've been to the planetarium before, we did a recent showing of all of the orange-like objects you might see in the night sky, and coincidentally, Mars was right by a bunch of other red things. So it was like, which one is Mars right now? What's happening? Because there's
Mars.
Yeah, because there's two other stars that I know of that are very orange or red in color. Betelgeuse is one. The Eye of Taurus the Bull, that's what I know it as. Let me click on it and get you the actual name, shall we? That's Mars. I did it again. Oh, Aldebaran, we just talked about it. Oh my goodness. Okay, Aldebaran, there it is. Very orangish in color. Betelgeuse is here. Hi, Betelgeuse. And there's Orion, our wonderful friend. I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Please head outside and take a look at some of the stuff that we showed you tonight so that you get a chance to see them all. I hope you don't get snow on Thanksgiving, because I don't know about our viewers, but here in Muncie, we're getting snow. It's fall. Why are we getting snow? I do not understand. So I hope the weather is good for Thanksgiving evening. And I think we're all set to go. So, crew, say goodbye to our viewers. Bye, viewers. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving.